First start with a roll call. And Mr. Mears, you have that noted for us, please? Thank you. At this time, I want to introduce Mr. Hightower, the principal, so that he can introduce our guest this evening, who will be leading the audience and the board with the Pledge of Allegiance. Thank you, Mr. Hightower.
All right, thank you. I'm very grateful to be here with the students from Tracy Elementary School, and I'm very thankful that the weather held up today, and it's not sleeting outside, so the students can make it home safely, and hopefully be in school tomorrow. Hopefully I'm not getting any booze right now. We have two student-led organizations here, and I'm going to introduce the advisors. We have Mrs. Krebs as well as Mrs. Coomer. They're the advisors for the Leader in Me Lighthouse team committee that we have here at Tracy School, and we also have the 4th and 5th grade student council members, and they're led by Mr. Moffitt and Anjanette Trinidad. Please come forward. And at this time, we're going to have the students come forward to lead the Pledge of Allegiance. After they lead the Pledge of Allegiance, they have a statement for members of the board and gifts for you. Mrs. Trinidad, do you want to say something?
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, administrators and board members. My name is Mr. Moffitt, and this is Mrs. Trinidad, and we are both teachers as well as the student council coordinators from Tracy Elementary School. We're very excited and honored to be present at this evening's board meeting. I would like to introduce to you two very special young ladies who are 5th grade members of our student council, Benaya Wright and Maura Case. They would like to briefly share with you some of the events that our student council has participated in this year. Benaya?
Good evening. My name is Benaya Wright.
And my name is Maura Case.
At the beginning of the school year, we were given the opportunity to run for student council. This meant we would be the voice of our school. We were selected by our classmates to represent Tracy Elementary. We meet monthly as a group to discuss completed assignments and discuss upcoming goals. We as a student council represent our school and our community. We do what we can to help families in need. Family Connections has serviced the community of Easton and families in need. We've worked with Family Connections on different campaigns, such as Backpack Pals and the St. Patrick's Day fundraiser. In addition, this past February, we helped to organize our annual Super Bowl canned food drive, which assisted St. Vincent de Paul Food Bank in the westward of Easton.
As a student council, we help to support our PTA with different in-school events. The Holiday Bazaar and Spirit Week both capture the spirit of giving as we come together to promote unity. During the upcoming months, we will be working closely with the Easton Area High School National Honor Society to begin a recycling program in our school. We will also be involved with Pennies for Patients, a campaign for leukemia and lymphoma. Lastly, we will be participating in our very first Leadership Day, where we will work alongside the Lighthouse team in making sure our Leadership Day runs smoothly.
Good evening, everyone. We are the Tracy Lighthouse team. We are very excited to be here tonight and are working on a very fun and exciting project.
We are very busy getting ready for our first annual Leadership Day.
To showcase grades K through 5's leadership skills, they have to dedicate to each show their talents. They will all show how they can be leaders. Our school and classmates can't wait.
We would like to invite you to come to Tracy's first annual Leadership Day on May 18th. You'll now receive your own invitation.
We hope you are all able to join us. Thank you for your time and have a wonderful evening.
As the students are passing out the invitations, I just want to take this opportunity on behalf of the board and the administration to thank Mr. Hightower, the student council advisors, the teachers, and most importantly, the students for joining us this evening, taking time out of their busy schedule to be able to come here and to present information about their programs, as well as to recite the Pledge of Allegiance to us. So to everyone, thank you once again for coming this evening. Moving on with our agenda, we'll move to Superintendent's report. Mr. Reinhardt.
Thank you, Mr. President. I also want to thank Mr. Hightower for bringing students forward. And for those of you in the audience who may not be aware, these young people represent a program that we have implemented in our schools called the Leader in Me. And the Leader in Me is designed, the program is designed to help students work together towards solutions of issues. Some of the other highlights of this program include trying to do your job and improve your role in your situation by looking at the end with the end in mind. There are a number of leadership attributes and characteristics that we are trying to familiarize the students with. And so part of this is the opportunity for students to step up and lead and show confidence in their ability to speak to others. And I think that the students here tonight showed that, Mr. Hightower, tremendously. Very forthright, very confident, and I'm very impressed by that. So thank you very much. The expectation with this invitation, you see, is Edward Tracy Elementary School. Of course, we're sort of in a holding pattern right there right now. But Leadership Day 2018, and that's what the invitation looks like. And so we're all invited to that so that these students can show off what is clearly their developing leadership skills. So thank you very much. We're pleased to have you. As I'm sure everyone understands, the role of school board member in communities in this country is an extremely important one, and one that doesn't carry with it a lot of financial rewards, if they understand what I'm saying. It's a job that's very difficult, and a job that, but no other job has, I think, the kind of lasting contributions that board members pursue, because they are indeed dealing with the education of our future generations. We had a school board member a number of years ago by the name of Dr. Robert Moskaitis. And some of you may remember Dr. Moskaitis. He was on the school board for a number of years. and chose not to run, and recently retired from Mineral Technologies here in Easton. And the individuals at Minerals Technologies decided what they would like to do in honor of his career there and in honor of his desire to want to make an impact on this school district and students. They collected money and they offered us an opportunity to create a unique award in his name. So tonight we have the privilege of introducing the first two recipients of what we're going to call the Dr. Robert Moskaitis Award for Excellence in Middle School Science. So this is an award that's going to go to kids earlier in their career here in Easton and not later, but it's hopefully going to encourage lots of our middle school young people to excel in science, and for two, it's going to help to recognize their achievements. So I would like to ask Dr. Simia, she would come forward and please introduce to all of us the very special recipients of this first Dr. Robert Moskaitis Award for Excellence in Middle School Science.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen of the board and central office. We are very honored to be here this evening before you. Thank you for the invitation. That group, Mr. Hightower, is a tough act to follow, but we're going to try and do that, to follow those young student leaders. We're very happy and enthusiastic about their arrival at the middle school in August. I am honored to present to you this evening two of the shining examples, two of the most shining examples of the quality educational programs that we offer to every child who enters our doors in the Easton School District. These two young people, Abby Fondakis and Ali Rizwan, represent the outstanding children that we are molding every day into the leaders of our future society. We are proud of them, and we are honored that we had the opportunity to share in a small part of their lives as they travel on their journey to success. Both of their teachers have expressed that they are a pleasure to have in class. I can promise you, as if I had a crystal ball, that the Dr. Robert Moskaitis Award for Excellence in Middle School Science, which will be bestowed upon them this evening, will be one of the many honors that will be bestowed upon them to recognize the outstanding contributions that they will offer to make this world a better place throughout their entire lives. Ali Rizwan was nominated by his science teacher, Mrs. Crystal Hurst, in whose class he earned the highest average. His grades, his participation, his attitude, his attendance in class are exceptional. Ali's favorite subjects are math and physical education. He participates in basketball and soccer, and he likes to play video games. He is a member of the National Junior Honor Society. Ali currently has a GPA of 99%. He is placed in all honors classes except for math, in which he is placed in the higher accelerated level of geometry with a 98% average. That's quite impressive. Although Ali doesn't know the profession he will pursue at this time, he would like to be successful in life and to lead a good life. What more could you ask? Ali is extremely grateful to his parents, Mr. and Mrs. Rizwan Butt, and his teachers for their contributions to his academic performance throughout his life. Abby Fondakis is our second outstanding candidate this evening. She was nominated by her science teacher, Mr. David Baum, who shared that Abby puts forth maximum effort into every assignment she completes. He states that she has one of the most analytical, detail-oriented minds, and she's also creative at the same time, a creative artist or an artistic scientist. Abby's favorite subjects are science and math. She's a member of the National Junior Honor Society and the Girl Scouts of America. Abby loves to read in the spare time she may have because she volunteers her time at a local summer day camp. Abby hopes to study veterinary medicine in the future. She has a GPA average of 98%. Abby also is placed in all honors classes, again with the exception of her math class, in which she is placed on the higher accelerated level in geometry with 100% average. These two students are truly exceptional examples of our young leaders. Abby is the daughter of Mr. and Mrs. Stephen Fundakis, and Abby would like to recognize her mother, Mary Claire, because she has always been there for her with everything in life as she helps to prepare her path to the future. I thank the board for taking the time to recognize these two outstanding members of our school district community. I thank you for all the support of our programs, because these are shining examples of the programs, the effects of the programs that you are supporting throughout our school district. So I thank you again for your support. And Mr. Reinhardt, I present these two to you.
Congratulations. Great job. Thank you, Dr. Senior.
Next on our agenda, we'll hear committee reports from the various board members. We'll start with Mr. Snyder, CIU 20.
Yes, thank you. Just a couple of quick items to report. The IU budget has been approved by the committee there. It was in your packet 2 weeks ago, so you can review it at your leisure. Dr. Brennan will be here at the April 3rd committee meeting to review the budget with us and answer any questions we may have about it. And the most recent newsletter of the IU is also in your packet for this evening. And that's the end of the report.
Thank you, Mr. Snyder. Representative from the Easton Area Public Library.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Betsy Walker from the board of the Easton Area Public Library. I'm pleased to let you know that our renovations to the kitchenette in the Catherine Drake room, which houses our book sale, have been completed through the generosity of the Friends of the Library. Kitchen has been completely done and will be able to be used for the book sale as well as the other programs that take place there. I would also like to express the appreciation of the library because the maintenance department of the school district came in and put LED lighting in the back room of that area, which now makes the area an area where the book sale and the restrooms are located much more safe and brighter and more attractive. So thank you. And in two other notes that have to do with the school district, the library will now be allowing access to databases online by filling out a form right away for those who are under 18. If they don't have a library card, they'll be able to fill something out right away so that they will be able to access the myriad of databases that are online. In addition, Jennifer Long, our library director, is working with the librarian at Easton Area High School so that the librarian at the high school will be able to issue Easton Area public library cards to students right away, and that will help those who may not have done that when they did the original iPad thing and were doing other things or don't have the time to get to the library to have a library card. The Tracy students were here tonight. They were at the library last week. We have a fourth grade program where these fourth graders come in and they tour the youth services department, and then they go to the Marks room where they see the Easton flag. They see the old yearbooks of Easton High School and their own school, and they learn a lot about the history of Easton. This is a program that is very near and dear to the library's heart because we want all of the students to learn the history of their city, and they will be followed in May by students from Palmer School. And on a last note, I think when I was here last time, I told you about the Pennsylvania Library Association has a program that had 5 basic activities, literacies that are recognized, basic information, financial health, and social service literacy. And the library was working toward stars to have accomplished all of these things. And the library has completed that process over 2 years and has attained gold star status through the Pennsylvania Library Association in their PA Forward statewide initiative. We are only the second library in the area to have the status, so we're very proud of that. The other one, in case anyone wants to ask, is Allentown. So thank you very much. Do you have any questions for me? Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Our next report, CIT, either Mrs. Hess or Mrs. Weiss?
Yep, I'm going to take it.
Okay.
So CIT has been working very diligently to be very competitive, especially helping with the gap in skills in our area. Their marketing has been exceptional. So one of the major things I'm going to report on today is, as a team effort with the machine, the CAD department, the welding, body shop, right? Body shop, mechanics. There was a competition at Steel Stacks, a cupcake competition. So culinary wanted to display their cupcakes, and this is their second year. They won, so this is their second year, but they wanted to do something different. So with collaborating with everyone at CIT, they created this beautiful, and I wish I had it here on display. I think the next meeting we'll have to make sure we get a picture. A beautiful, what is, I guess, what is it?
Well, pretty much emulated the steel stacks. So it had the furnaces and it had the lights going up as they do now, and then it had a surrounding so that they could display it. It had the symbol from the Bethlehem Steel, and the nice part about it was they had asked if they could keep the display so that they could use it at different events at the steel stacks or within the Arts Fest, those areas. So it was pretty impressive. They used the welding and
It turned and had the lights.
It was pretty amazing, and it was, I really
It was
do
the
wish we
best
had a
cupcake
picture.
display
And
we've
the
heard.
cupcakes were delicious.
Yes, they were. So that's it.
Thank you very much, ladies. Next, Community College Report, Mr. Fainall.
Yes, we held our meeting this past month, and the key items were we had the staff appointments and promotions of approximately 10 people. We reviewed the facilities master plan, which we do once a year because of moving items on forward for potential reimbursement from the state. And then last but not least, we had numerous items that we approved for the upgrade of the Fowler Center as we complete some of the development over there. And that completes my report.
Thank you, Mr. Fainall. Foundation for Easton Schools, Ms. Seaga.
Thank you. The most recent fund report is in the folder for board members. You can see the itemized list of specific donations, and I do want to just specifically mention, we had talked last month about a donation that was made to Tracy School for outstanding meal debt by Moe's, and we also had a $500 anonymous donation this past month towards that same fund as well. And then, as you know, the big event for the foundation is the gala, which is upcoming on Saturday, April 7th. I want to thank the board members who've already purchased tickets and remind you that you can still do that. And also the board members and members of the administration who donated towards what the gala is doing this year as what's called a wine pull, where bottles of wine have been donated. Individuals who come to the gala can purchase them, and that money is going to go towards the purchase of a device that fits over a water fountain here at the high school so that students will have a water bottle filling station, and they hope to make that an annual event. So I hope students here are excited about that, and again, thank you for your contributions to that. And that concludes my report.
Thank you, Ms. Seago. Charles Schrin Science and Technology Initiative, Mrs. Hess.
No report.
Thank you. Legislative, Mr. Fainall.
Yes, now that we're in March, discussions have been going on in Harrisburg as far as the budget process. There has been nothing definite yet, but the current feeling in Harrisburg is that to complete the budget in a timely fashion this year, that means hopefully not extending past June 30th, so that they're in town and then that they exit Harrisburg rather quickly after that.
Thank you. Student Council report, is Emily Mitzak here, or a representative?
My name is Valeria Aguilar. I'm the Vice President of the Executive Board. Unfortunately, Emily Mitzak couldn't be here tonight. As of right now, Student Council is just pretty much working on the end of the year activities. We have Mr. Easton planned to take place on April 23rd here in the auditorium. Each grade level has been meeting with Ms. PCK weekly regarding Spirit Week. Sophomores will honor someone on Community Day. Juniors have been planning EASD Day, and seniors have been working with Leukemia and Lymphoma Society on planning AAG. EASD Day will take place on Friday, May 4th, and AAG will also take place on Friday at 7 p.m. in the main gym. Seniors have been working diligently to plan prom, and that will take place on Saturday, May 19th at Steel Stacks. And Student Council has also been working with PTSA to plan post-prom. And our first graduation committee was held last Thursday. That's it.
Thank you very much. EAEA report, Mr. Dealey is not here, so we'll skip that. Bus drivers report, representative from the bus drivers here. Okay. Eastern Area School District Diversity, Mr. Reinhardt.
Yes, our next meeting is on April 5th, and it's going to be at the Boys and Girls Club at 5:30. All are welcomed.
Thank you.
George, we missed PTA.
I'm sorry. PTA, Ms. Lynn Alexander, is she here? Okay. Thank you, Jody. Section 4 on the agenda is public to be heard on agenda items. At this time, the board will entertain public comment that will be specified to agenda items at this time. If there is anyone in the audience that wants to come forward from the public who would like to comment on an agenda item that's posted, please come forth to the podium, sign your name on the form, and then state your name as well. Okay, thank you. Section 5, executive session report, as noted, the executive session that was held. And we have Section 6, approval of the minutes. So I'm looking for approval of the minutes for the committee meetings held on February 6th, the regular board meeting on February 20th, the capital projects meeting on February 15th, and the Cunningham Stadium Committee meeting held on February 22nd as presented.
So move.
Second.
Okay. Any questions or clarifications? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Section 7, personnel. At this time, I'm looking for a motion to approve 7A, B, and C. 7A is a motion to approve the retirements of 2 bus drivers, a custodial maintenance staff member, and an Act 93 staff member at the high school. 7B is a motion to approve the resignation of 6 staff members, and 7C, a motion to approve the leave of absence for 10 staff members as presented.
So moved.
Motion with regrets for A.
Second.
Okay. Any questions by the board? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The motion carries. I'll ask for a motion to approve 7D, professional employment contract for 2 individuals, and 7E, approval for long-term substitute contracts for 3 individuals as approved, as presented.
So moved.
Second.
Any questions or comments? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. I'll look for a motion for 7F and G to approve 7F, the employment for bus drivers and paraprofessionals, and 7G, the approval of volunteer coaches for football, cheering, and boys lacrosse as presented.
So moved.
Second.
Any questions by anyone? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. 7I and J. I'm sorry, no, H, I, and J. Looking for a motion on 7H, which will be to approve extra pay for extra duty. 7I, Motion to approve 4 support staff substitutes. And 7J, a motion to approve the TME instructor as presented.
So moved.
Second.
Any questions by the board? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you, the motion carries. We'll move into academics. On 8A, a motion, please, to approve the Moravian College Student Trainer Agreement as presented.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. I'll look for a motion on 8B and 8C to approve the, motion on 7B is to approve the CPEC schedule for March 28th, and then 8C will be the approval of the field trips as presented.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. We'll move into Section 9, Policy. If you see there listed, there are a number of policies that, at our February 6th Standing Committee meeting, these policies were reviewed by Mr. Snyder and Mrs. Emili, and they had to do with a lot of revisions to various policies. And those policies were relating to the professional staff, the classified staff, and the administrative staff. So at this time, I'll ask for a motion to approve policies 9A through 9H as presented.
So moved.
Second.
Any questions on any of those policies? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. We'll move into Buildings and Grounds, Section 10. I'll ask for a motion to approve, and I'm going to go a little out of order here just to keep the ones together. A motion to approve 10A and 10F, which relate to Tracy School. 10A to approve the security camera updates, and then 10F to approve the change orders for the Tracy Elementary School renovations.
So moved.
Second.
Any questions by anyone? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. I'll look for a motion on 10B and C to approve lawn services contract for the high school campus, which is 10B, and 10C, lawn service contract for the other district campuses as presented.
So moved.
Second.
Any questions by anyone? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. I'll look for a motion for 10D and E, which involve maintenance contracts. 10D has the contract for the high school, and, 10E has the Shawnee one, and 10D has the maintenance contract for the high school as presented.
Motion.
Second.
Any questions by anyone? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. We'll go into Section 11, Finance. I'll ask for a motion to approve the payment of the list of bills from the General Fund, the Special Activities, Capital Projects Fund, and Food Service as presented.
So moved.
Second.
Any questions on that? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. I'll ask for a motion to approve 11B, the Apple Computer Lease Program, and 11C, the 2017 Property Tax Rebate Program as presented.
So moved.
Second.
Okay? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The motion carries. 11D, as everyone saw this evening, 2 students from the middle school were recognized for the Dr. Robert Moschitis Award for Excellence in Science, and at this time, I'll ask for a motion to approve the acknowledgement of not only of those 2 students, but for the awards for the Dr. Moskaitis Excellence in Science, as presented.
Second.
We had a first and second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. And the last one under Finance, I'll look for a motion to approve the sale of the repository property on Fox Hill Road as presented.
So moved.
Second.
Under 10, they were added? They were added? Yeah, okay, yeah. Yep, yeah. We have a motion and a second on the sale of repository property. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Two additional items added here. We'll look at 11F, which is a motion to approve the Eastern Area High School Chilled Water Plant Bid Award, and also G, to approve the Shawnee and March Elementary School classroom technology equipment upgrades as presented.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That motion carries. On to Section 12, Other Business. We have a motion to approve the expulsion hearing waiver for student number 26478 under the terms as presented.
Motion.
Second.
Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. The motion carries. I think we've covered everything on our business aspect for this meeting.
Mr. President?
Yes.
On that last one, I'm showing it as student number 43992. Is there a conflict there?
No, I don't. 43992.
Yes.
Yes.
The subject line and the recommended action are two separate numbers. So just if we can clarify the appropriate number then.
The expulsion waiver is for student number 43992.
Right.
Yep.
Is that the correct
Is that
number? Because in the recommended action.
Yeah, the recommended action has student number.
Right.
Here, it's, yes, 43992 is the student.
But there's also a different student number identified under
Right.
the recommended action.
Mr. President, it looks like 26478 was the one from last month.
Is that what it, okay. So then let's clarify that. The motion was for student number 43992,
Correct.
okay?
Here's
All right,
the
thank you.
clarity.
All right, as I said, that concludes our business. At this time, Section 13, public to be heard on non-agenda items. If there was anyone from the public that has a comment to be made for the board, please come forward, state your name, and I believe there's a form at the podium.
Good evening, Mr. Reinhardt, President Shando. My name is Lance Wheeler. I'm the president of the Eastern Branch of the NAACP. Tonight, I'm here on behalf of the president, on behalf of the branch. I talked to Mr. Reinhardt. We know there's a situation in the school district. I talked to Mr. Reinhardt. If the board doesn't know what had happened recently with the firing of Jamar Billman, again, we had talked about that. I was assured by the school board, by the president, and by, well, Mr. Reinhardt, there's an investigation going on. I was told that the school board has given me a letter to keep the man off the property. I think it's bigger than this. I think just this sweeping this under the carpet and getting rid of this situation is not going to make the people that are here that don't wrestle, okay, that brought the attention of why we're here tonight. And I think the school board needs to know someone needs to be at fault. And this is not going to go away. Mr. Billman got his job back, so what? There's more than that. It's a deep root in this school district, and we want answers. Now, the school district, the school board hired Mr. Billman. He came through when he got hired. Mr. Billman got fired on Saturday night. And again, I'm not here to talk about Mr. Billman getting fired, but I'm here so the people of the public can hear from the school board you're looking into this investigation. Again, I don't want to hear Mr. Billman has to start the prosecution himself. That is ridiculous. He was an employee of the school district, and it says, I have it here. And of course, again, I don't want to make copies of it and give it to everyone, but the guy was assaulted on school property. Now, for him to step up and take the blame for something that he had no reason to do, again, it's starting to spew poison. The poison is the school district needs to take responsibility and get rid of or do whatever you got to do for the people that made that decision to Mr. Billman. Because if he would have did whatever else he could have did, he would have lost his job in his real life, not for Eastern Area High School. And I think that's what people are forgetting. So he has to prosecute this charge himself. This is ridiculous, and this is what I don't want to stand in here. That, oh, Mr. whatever his name is can't come on the property. Oh, Mr. Billman, come on. It's deeper than that. People made decisions out there. People got confronted out there, and not to talk about it, was said, oh, well, guess what? I don't have nothing to do with that right now. Representing the school district. Then people are not here tonight. Tells you something. And I don't want to hear excuses of why they're not here. But again, I want to work with the school district, but someone wants answers. Not about him getting his job back and let this go away. About the people that made the decisions to fire him and not get the real truth until it came from the real truth where Mr. Simonetta and Mr. Reinhardt sat down. And again, I know there's consequences from Mr. Reinhardt making that decision to give him his job back. I know people are sitting there saying, well, why did you do that? You didn't talk to us. No one talked to Mr. Reinhardt until Jamar Billman told him what actually happened. So that's why the people are here tonight, to get the real truth and stop hearing the school board. Again, not the incident that happened 2 years ago with Coach Schiffert. We ain't letting this one go. Okay, the man's career is already damaged. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening, Mr. President and fellow school board members. My name is Marvin Boyer. I'm the Political Action Chair of the NAACP. And I'd like to read a statement I read earlier, but I'd like to read it for the board's pleasure. And this is a statement that's backed by our branch. And on behalf of the Eastern NAACP branch and the community it represents, I'd like to express first our appreciation and gratitude to Eastern Area District Superintendent John Reinhardt and Chief Operating Officer Mike Simonetta on their decisive and timely decision to reinstate Jamar Billman once they were properly informed of the facts and issues surrounding his dismissal. Mr. Reinhardt and Mr. Simonetta demonstrate the leadership, courage, and moral backbone we expect from those empowered with the authority to make a decision. They did the right thing. A young man's reputation and career was salvaged that otherwise could have been ruined. However, upon review and close inspections, the facts leading to Jamar Billman's termination were not pretty. In fact, they were quite disturbing. We feel the public needs to know the backstory in the hopes that the appropriate measures and actions will be taken to ensure such an egregious abuse of authority and poor judgment will not happen again. It is clear that Jamar Billman did not have the support of his direct supervisors and other administrators. Since Mr. Billman's elevation to head coach, his complaints of harassment by various people associated with the wrestling program to the athletic director were not handled, they were not dealt with. The defining incident that led to his termination transpired over the weekend of 3/9/18 at the state meet in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. A star wrestler failed to make the weight, thus disqualifying him from competition and placement. Of course, the wrestler was distraught. To his credit, Mr. Billman shouldered the entire blame when explaining the matter to the parents, who became enraged when informed. They vented their fury at Billman, calling him names and swearing at him. The wrestler's grandfather went so far as to choke Mr. Billman, using a derogatory racial epithet, called him a nigger, and he threatened his life. Throughout the verbal and physical assault, Mr. Billman remained calm and professional. Billman then reported the matter to his supervisor, the athletic director. Shortly after the incident on Saturday morning, 3/10/18, Billman was instructed by the athletic director to author a statement detailing the incident. Billman's assistant was also instructed to do the same. Billman stated that there were numerous witnesses to both the physical and verbal assault, and that he advised the athletic director of such. Billman assumed that since he did nothing wrong to instigate the disturbance, he was confident that he'd be supported by the AD and a high school principal, the AD's direct supervisor. Nothing could be further from the truth. During the course of the next few days, Billman became aware of rumors of his pending dismissal. Moreover, there were rumors naming his replacement circulated by people close to the wrestling program. One of Billman's assistants stated he was called on Sunday, 3/11, from the head coach of another high school program and informed that Billman would be fired and his replacement would be soon named. On Tuesday, 3/13, Billman was advised by the athletic director to meet him in his office on Wednesday, 3/14. At no time, including the time of his meeting with the athletic director and high school principal, did Billman think his job was in jeopardy. Billman was aware that there were those who had close ties, influence, and relationships with the athletic director who did not support him. However, he had no record of any disciplinary actions and a favorable employee performance review by the AD to be proud of, and therefore confident his job was safe. Naturally, Billman was stunned when informed by the athletic director and high school principal on 3/14 that his contract was not being renewed. He stated he was not given a valid reason for the dismissal. Sadly, a small group of people close to the AD and high school principal had an inordinate amount of influence. It is clear that this decision was made by a small group of people. It's now abundantly clear that the termination decision by the athletic director and high school principal was wrong. Billman, nor his assistants, and all the witnesses to this incident on 3/11 were never interviewed by the athletic director or school principal prior to his dismissal.
Excuse me, sir. I just want to remind you of the 5-minute time limit. If you could wrap it up then, please.
Okay, I'm almost finished. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. President. Okay, additionally, the rumors and innuendos surrounding the subsequent investigation by the athletic director and high school principal on 3/10, it's also clear that there were confidentiality breaches. I'll just end with these last two sentences. I'll skip to it. It's our hope that the Eastern Area School District senior administrators and EAS Board of Directors will continue to do the right thing. And speaking to Mr. Billman and hearing his side of the story, he felt compelled to tell the complete story so that the public understands the depth of deception and rush of judgment on the part of the athletic director and high school principal. It's our hope that the district decides to terminate the employment of the athletic director and the high school principal given their egregious actions. In addition, reprimand the assistant superintendent for her inactions representing the superintendent, John Reinhardt. I can tell you as an experienced corporate investigator who investigated thousands of cases, this does not involve a major investigation. The facts to me are abundantly clear. Your administrators messed up. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. If I could, sir, just before you begin, I just want to remind anybody that's coming forward to speak of the 5-minute time limit. You will hear a sound that will tell you you're at your 5-minute time limit, and if you could then wrap up your comments. Thank you.
I shouldn't be that long. My name is Bill Houston. I'm a former employee of the Eastern Area School District, also former athlete, teacher, assistant principal, head principal. Most of the people here tonight are here to inquire about an alleged incident of violence that happened at the state wrestling meet. Rumors of an Eastern Area School employee being attacked by a disgruntled fan during a wrestling match. The topic's all over the place. I'm a member of the NAACP, but I'm here tonight talking as a man. Fan behavior is is emphasized in plain English before each athletic event in most high schools around the state, usually before or after the national anthem. Consequences of fan misbehavior of all types are clearly heard by everyone at those events. This alleged incident is disturbing to the entire Easton area. I have never heard of such act of fan behavior in the 70 years I've followed Easton sporting events. Coach Billman is an employee of the Easton Area School District. He's one of ours. He's just as important as our administrators, teachers, secretaries, bus drivers, cooks, custodians, and other employees in the district. Coach Billman, like many of you in this room, attended Easton High School. He excelled in wrestling, bringing many honors to our school and to himself. I don't know Coach Billman that well. I know and taught his parents. I know they taught him well, stressing hard work, good behavior, respect for his peers and adults, and honesty and fairness. They knew the tools necessary for success in life, and they made sure their son had them. This incident should have never happened in America. What right does a fan have to verbally degrade a wrestling coach with derogatory racial remarks in front of players and his fans? What right does that same fan have to be so filled with hate that he physically attacks a coach with Neolithic vigor to ensure harm? This needs to be looked into. School board members, I'm not insensitive to this problem. I sat on a board similar to this for 14 years. There were many times we faced crowds like this, and we had to make a decision for the good of the cause. You are the leaders here. People are watching you. Students are watching you. You have to decide what to do, and you have to live with your decisions. And while you're doing that, remember that everybody is somebody, and that hate crime is a federal crime. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening, folks. My name is David Collins, Easton resident, 1986 Easton Area School District graduate. When I heard about the situation that happened with Coach Billman or Jamar Billman this past weekend, I was taken aback by what I heard. I immediately started thinking, what is wrong with us as a society, and what is wrong with us as a school district? I cannot believe that this is even an issue or something that needs to be debated or thought about or processed. I don't know how a gentleman can leave an area and attack one of your employees while he's on the job, doing his job. Is it because the man is Caucasian? Is it because he's a Caucasian grandfather? I'm a grandfather as well. What would happen to me, 6'3", 290 pounds, I come inside these doors and I grab one of you, and I call you out your name, I call you a slur. God only knows what would happen to me if I would do that to one of you up here. Think about that. Think about that. That gentleman that assaulted Mr. Billman, and I heard he threw coffee on him allegedly, I heard he called him a nigger allegedly, that's a hate crime. I mean, I don't know why this is even a debate. We already have a person who's in the White House who already spews out certain innuendos and certain opinions, and it seems that that train of thought or that process is trickling down through all sorts of work environments. It's just, I've never seen times like this in all my days of living. I'm 50 years old. This is new to me as far as experiencing it and seeing it firsthand. Please, let's not make this more complicated than what it is. This is a classic case of the tail wagging the dog. Now, God love the kids that support Coach Billman and want him to come back, but like Lance Wheeler said, that's a small part of the equation. That's very small, because I truly believe that if Mr. Billman was not assaulted allegedly and not had coffee thrown on him allegedly and not called nigger allegedly, if all that wouldn't have happened, he'd have been gone. He'd have been done. He wouldn't have came back. He wouldn't have came back. To me, it's a classic case of the tail wagging the dog. Now, in my line of work, I see what happens to folk when they commit hate crimes or they assault people. I see what happens to them. I have to tend to them. I don't know why this case is so different. I don't know why this case is being debated. I don't know why we're approaching this as if we don't know what we're seeing. So I suggest you folks, somebody do the right thing. I mean, it seems like the kids have more backbone and more courage than some of the adults sometimes, to be quite honest with you. And if Mr. Billman's group of kids, his wrestlers, if they have this much character and this much integrity, that it upstages a lot of your adults or so-called adults in the district, I commend them. I'm looking forward to that next generation coming through, because they're showing a backbone that a lot of adults are not showing. I think it's a shame before God that we're standing in front of here and we're literally debating or thinking about what should happen in regards to the uncertain circumstance or unfortunate circumstance that happened to Mr. Billman. In this day and age of school violence, what if this gentleman would have had a knife or ice pick or a fork or anything? To be able to walk up in his space and grab him, that's close. It don't take long to get cut or get stabbed or get mutilated in some kind of way. Trust me, I've seen it before. So think about that the next time you folks are in the grocery store, or you're sitting here in this meeting, or you're walking down the hall, or you're walking to your car, you're walking to get your mail out the mailbox. Think about somebody walking up on you, snatching you up, calling you a racial slur, and threatening you. Because I guarantee you, 6'3", 290, if I walk in here, walk anywhere in your vicinity, in your personal space, and grab you and choke you, I know I will be locked up. That's my time.
Mr. President, Mr. Reinhardt, members of the school board, my name is Charles Dickerson. I live at 49 Inverness Lane, Palmer Township. I have a statement to read, and it reads this way. While the reinstatement of head coach Jamar Billman is the right decision, it is not enough given the seriousness of the circumstances surrounding his dismissal. The culture that permitted this to happen in the first place must be corrected. This event has had and will continue to have a negative impact on all faculty members, and particularly faculty members of color, parents, students, and in particular members of the wrestling team, both at the high school and the middle school, coaches, and in particular coaches of color. The administrators who participated in this egregious dismissal are still in their position in the Eastern Area School District. They will continue to supervise head coach Mr. Billman with less than professional standards. The powerful racist dismissal will linger throughout the Eastern community for years to come. The students and wrestlers will not forget what took place to one of their beloved teacher coach. How do you explain to them all of the circumstances that perpetrated this unfair dismissal? And how will you explain how the administrators are not held accountable for their actions? The community needs to see a change in the racist culture surrounding the administrators who dismissed Mr. Billman. We need complete disclosure and closure. Members of the school board, please understand this reinstatement case is much larger than allowing a faculty member to keep his position. You must send a clear signal that the Eastern Area School District stands for fair treatment in all of its professional ranks. Why would any educational professional desire a position in a district where their professional performance is not competently and fairly assessed? Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, my name is Jonathan Pineda. I'm senior captain of the Eastern Wrestling team. These are my teammates who supported me through my plans. I want to thank this Board of Education for allowing me to speak tonight, to thank everyone involved for reinstating Coach Billman and his staff. My fellow wrestlers and I fought to reinstate our coach and his staff. We are so happy this community came together to support us. I do want to thank everyone here, all the supporters that came from all over Easton. See, growing up in Easton, we all listened to tradition and family. That's what the Easton way. You know what I mean? But when this hit, people went different ways, different roads that they don't know about. See, some people stayed together as a team. Some people went the upper ways, even public people or any other people. Growing up in Easton, we all should be together, family. This should be a family decision. You know what I mean? We should have each other's back when someone gets accused or threatened or anything else like that. This will go over everyone. I would die for my coaching staff. I would die for these teammates. Those are my brothers, and that's my family. I would do anything for them because they taught me many lessons in life and made me become a better leader and become a better person and a better wrestler. Without these people, I don't think I would be the person I am now. I don't think I would have been anywhere near where I want to achieve my goals. They made me chase my goals. You know what I mean? I only started wrestling 4 years ago. I only had 2 years with Coach Billman. People should have more chances with Coach Billman. I mean, if I could go back, I wish I could have Coach Billman when I was a freshman. But it's part of the game of life, I guess. I think Coach Billman is a very good man. Has done a lot, has made a lot of people change minds about life in general. But I do want to thank you guys for support, people in public for their support, and I don't know if any of these guys have anything to say. You want to? Anyone else? That's all I have. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Good evening to the board, to Superintendent Reinhardt. Thank you for this opportunity to be here tonight. I'll be within my time. You know, race in America is a difficult conversation for people to have because of America's sordid past. The problem stems from the fact that when people begin to talk about race, they become defensive and they want to protect their own point of view. Often when people begin to talk about race, specifically minorities, you know, we're labeled as playing the race card. Here they go playing the race card again. The reality is we can't act like race is not an issue. For black folks, we look around our institutions and realize that we are not represented in many cases. So it is evident to us that race does play a part in decisions, by omission. If we're not there, we can't have a say. At the highest level of the District of Easton, there are no people of color. The superintendent, high-level administrators, other positions, we're just not represented. I've worked with every administration for the past 25 years, and I'd say that there's much to celebrate. We've come a long way. There's a lot to be proud of. Mr. Reinhardt has been a strong leader and helped to foster dialogue and fairness in many processes that heretofore were not available to those in the African American community. However, in regards to this issue with Coach Billman, I believe, as others, that he was unfairly treated. I don't know whether it was racial or not. I can't get into the heads of the people who made the decision. That would be wrong of me to project, racism on this conversation. I can't read their minds. All I know is that this man was let go without due process. The question I would have is why? What's different about him than any other head coach in the history of Eastern Area School District? Probably comes down to a couple of things, and one of them may be the color of his skin. My concern is that, let me say this. I'm grateful to the superintendent and those who took time to meet with him and reverse the decision. Amen. My concern is that as the first African-American head coach, wrestling coach, Mr. Billman could be the target of retribution. It's hard enough being a minority. None of you would know about that, maybe except for the women. It's hard enough being a minority and working in an environment, but then having to work for somebody who does not want you there. Put yourself in his position. His direct supervisors will be people who wanted him gone. My concern is that he will be the target of retribution. I believe that it is unfair to him, to the students, to the wrestling program. It will send a bad message to the district and surrounding districts for him to work in that unfair environment. If you have a boss that doesn't want you in that place, that can be a dangerous thing. I realize that the district has had to settle lawsuits. You read it in the paper. You come out of a lawsuit, wrongful termination. You come out of a lawsuit, people suing you for this and suing you for that. I realize this. I realize that if you were to terminate those individuals without them getting due process, you'd probably end up in another lawsuit. So I understand your quandary. I understand your issue. The problem is that if we don't do something to address this issue, if there is no accountability in the district, people are going to run amok. If there's no accountability for the students, guess what? They're going to run amok. No accountability for the administrators, guess what? They're going to run amok. No accountability for the teachers, guess what? They're going to run amok. And you've got a whole district running amok. So if we set the standard, and the standard is you can do what you want to do and there'll be no retribution, there'll be no judgment on you for your decisions, that's a horrible way to run a school district. I've got 38 seconds. I'll stay in my time. I'd like to do this. So again, I'll say I'm sensitive to your quandary. Mr. Billman accepted his responsibility. He owned it. He shouldered it. He owned up to his error. The question is, has everybody done that? Are the people that made that decision, have they done that? I'd like to call, in addition with the NAACP, I'd like to call for an external investigation. Not internal, external investigation into this whole matter. We have good sources to say that a high-level administrator of Eastern Area School District met with the family on Sunday, and they connected and shared information, and that is a breach of confidentiality. It is wrong, and it is your job as leaders of the district to get inside of this information, bring somebody in from the outside, and let's get the real truth about what happened. Thank you very much.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Tammy Santiago. I'm a lifelong resident of Easton. I was also a student here, and I was also an athlete here. My son was also an Easton wrestler since 7th grade. Yes, I was involved in the football booster club, the soccer booster club, and the wrestling booster club. But I'm not here for that. I'm here as a mother. And you need to do what's right for those boys. So please, watch out for the children of Easton.
Hello, everyone. I'm not born here. I came here about 5 years ago. I heard of Easton Pride. I came from Somerville, New Jersey. My son is Darius Joyce. My name is Sandra Joyce. I came here because I heard all the hype, Easton, 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 and they were right. I'm proud to be here. I am proud. I'm proud that my son was 4 years in this school. He graduated, he wrestled, for Coach Powell, which we love, and then Coach Billman. I always said, if he had one more year with Coach Billman, he would have won state. This is my issue. I want to know why he was fired. When my son came home from Hershey because he was there, he said, Mom, something horrible happened, and he explained to me, and the next day we find out that he was fired. Tammy, I got a text here that somebody wrote calling Tammy. I'm gonna read you the text and then I'm gonna be done. This was on the Lehigh Valley Live, and it said a reply to Rover, never. Then who will get to pay for the newly renovated school? We all came from somewhere. Even your loudmouth ringleader, Tammy Santiago, and her 55% 3D wrestler, which is kind of awful, don't we think? We all adults. This came from Forks Mafia Mama. Okay, guys? It's there. And I just wanted to make it known. I think it's horrible, but I'm still proud to be here.
Thank you.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Chris Jackson. I actually have two kids who are currently in the Easton School District, one in middle school, one in elementary school. I had the chance to meet Coach Billman once, just in passing, just seemed like somebody who was just a really worthwhile person. Looking back on somebody who was in Easton, left Easton and has seen numerous places in Ivy League, had a chance to really just go out and came back to Easton, that means that he really saw an impact. He saw an impact based on what he was able to learn here. And that's somebody who's actually going to be able to pass on an impact. What's happened now is that you've now diminished his impact. Now what happens is you go and you dismiss him for whatever may have happened without necessarily going through with an actual investigation and doing what needed to be done. And like I said, nothing against anybody who was involved in the reinstatement, but let's just all be fair. If you go and you dismiss anybody and then you immediately reinstate him, you still have that mark there. Now, that means from here on out, even if he goes and he does everything that he's supposed to, even with the impact, even when you have wrestlers here, you have parents here who are speaking on his behalf, which means that he's impacted so many people. But now he has a mark on his record because of the fact that things went south with a parent, with a grandparent that decided that they needed to go out of their way. Now, are we talking about possibly banning that grandparent from going to these such events? No. We're talking about the fact that we've banned, that you essentially said, no, you are dismissed for doing whatever you needed to do. Now, I preach to my kids, and like I said, the turn the other cheek method and everything, I tell them, if somebody is going out of their way to do it, then you know what, you just go ahead and just get away. If they continue, then you know what, it's okay to fight back. Mr. Billman did not fight back, and yet he got punished for something. And yet this grandparent is sitting at their home right now, probably sitting, watching TV, thinking that this is okay, or thinking that this was a fine act. Meanwhile, Mr. Billman is sitting at home trying to figure out exactly what's going on. Even though he's been reinstated, things are changing, and things have changed. So that's the reason why these investigations, these things where you don't really investigate much, because I'm gonna tell you, if you sit there and you can go and you can hear that somebody got grabbed by their shirt, somebody was called an expletive, and then you have the grounds to dismiss somebody, there was no investigation. You just did what you thought was right. But that's a personal choice. That's not a choice according to procedure. This discourages me from actually going ahead and being able to put my kids in the Easton Area School District or have them continue in sports. My son loves football. He wants to play for Easton. He wants to play for every college possible. We talk about 30 such colleges, and that list is growing because, of course, every time you see somebody else, then you know what, but how can I even go ahead and encourage him when you have coaches who are getting escorted out the door for doing everything that you tell them to do right? Now, I also want to make sure that it's known, and like I say, you can choose not to look at me. You can choose to just go ahead and maybe not, take it as serious. But I just really want to understand how the process, and I'm pretty sure that with anybody else, matter of fact, I'll just make an analogy. Let's just put it that way. If somebody goes and has brain cancer, they go in to remove the tumor. They don't remove the brain because they need to leave the tumor there. You remove the brain in fear of the tumor rather than just going ahead and just taking the tumor out and treating the brain the way that it should have. This needs to change, and this has to change as soon as possible. So I come to you humbly, and I come to you just, I'm guessing more or less just saying to you, this right here is not good. It's not good for athletes, it's not good for parents, and it's not good for the district, and it's definitely not good for Easton. So I implore you to make sure that you make these changes accordingly before something else like this happens, and then you end up without any athletes wanting to do anything for Easton at all. Thank you.
I'm sorry, did you sign in?
Oh, did I sign in?
Yes.
I did not.
Could you
but
please? Thank
I
you.
will sign in. Well, I did say my name right, Christopher Jackson.
Yes.
Christopher Jackson.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Hi, good evening. I'm the mother of Jonathan Pineda, the heavyweight. And I want to say that I do hope, first of all, I want to say thank you for reinstating Coach Billman's job. I do want to say that my son was in States when the incident occurred. I do hope that you guys do a thorough investigation because my son and his other wrestling teammates that were present and saw all this, and I got a phone call from my kid, crying, scared, telling me, Mom, you don't know what I just saw and what I had to do to help Coach Billman. And he even said, Mom, Coach Billman did not disrespect that man, did not put his hands on that man, but the man did. So I do hope you guys do a thorough investigation and do what you need to do and show these students that you guys are behind them, because they love their coach, and they know that next season their coach is going to come back stronger and going to prove to you that they are at their best level with this coach. I do hope you guys please do your investigation properly. Get your tapes, do whatever you need to do, but you need to back up this coach and back up these students. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Andrew Oliveira. I'm a senior here at Easton Area High School. I just want to say regarding this incident with Coach Billman, it's, as an athlete, I'm disgusted. This is nasty. I'm actually happy I play a fall sport so I don't have to play for this athletic department ever again. Also, you guys, I'm pretty sure most of you guys have read the article in Lehigh Valley Live regarding how I feel about the approval of a few protests that went on here. And obviously you guys are seeing that I would like a fair and balanced counter-protest. So regarding that, all I have to say is, if you saw the TV special last night, if you read the article online, I would ask, Mr. President, if you could either put in a motion, talk to Mr. Geiger. I talked to Mr. Geiger myself. He was very open to it, very nice about it. I would just please ask that you guys handle it fairly. And I warn you guys, if you guys do not accept my form of protest, if you guys don't let me voice out my opinion, there will be consequences, whether it's through the media or through a lawsuit of unfair and unequal representation. I'm hoping you guys accept it. And that's it. Thank you.
Thank you. Seeing no other individuals to come forward, first one of all, on behalf of the Board of Education, I want to thank everyone for attending this evening and for providing your comments to the board. I can tell you that your comments are valued by the Board of Education. I also will say that the Board of Education will continue to work through this incident to ensure that an incident like this is completely investigated, completely reviewed, and we will move forward with any needed recommendations and/or corrective actions. Once again, I want to thank you for coming this evening and for voicing your comments to the Board of Education. At this time, I'll ask the board members if there's any other business from the board. Hearing none, I'll ask for a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. This meeting is adjourned.